Last time, we began a scenario where Goku learned fusion early thanks to King Kai. A lot's changed already, so how is it going to affect the next arcs? We'll be covering all that and more in the second part of What If Goku Learned Fusion Early. Vegeta heals up following his fight with King Cold. Also, of course, growing stronger from this. But he can't believe the power he's feeling. Once again, he tries to transform. And it takes a lot of effort, but he is able to pull it off. There's no question about it. The power he's experiencing right now, it's Super Saiyan. It has to be. He's the Super Saiyan. This entire time it was him, not Kakarot. But this isn't his ceiling. He knows he can grow stronger from this. This is just the beginning. What can he do next, though? Frieza and Cold are gone, and there's still Kakarot left too, who he has to defeat in a one-on-one battle. But he doesn't really care too much about Kakarot right now because, well, he's not a Super Saiyan. There's no way Kakarot's on his level at the moment. And he could go and just fight him now as is, but that would be kind of boring. He's above Kakarot, and by a big margin now. It'll only be a satisfying fight if he waits for Kakarot to figure this out too, if that's even possible. Or at least find some way to get to his level. He needs to beat him in an all-out, one-on-one. So, Kakarot could wait for the moment. In the meantime, Vegeta's gonna do some target practice. Frieza and King Cold might be gone, but there definitely has to be a lot of soldiers left around space. So, he's gonna find them, destroy them all, and tie up those loose ends. Especially after learning about the Dragon Balls, he knows the soldiers are probably gonna go for them, and Vegeta kinda wants to go for them himself as well. He's gonna see if he can find Namek, and if not, it doesn't matter. He'll go back to Earth anyways to fight Kakarot, and he'll just steal the Dragon Balls there. As Vegeta begins his grand tour, let's go back to Earth. Goku decides that it's best to train with Piccolo. They did defeat Frieza, but it required a fusion. It's not that Goku hates fusion or anything, it's just that he realized he needed someone else's help to win there, and he would have preferred to do it on his own. Again, it's not really a bad thing, especially because he and Piccolo are actually allies now. They fused. That's like the best form of fighting together. Piccolo tells him to not get too ahead of himself, but he's just as motivated too, for the same exact reasoning. Unlike the fusion dance, the fusion with Nail was permanent. Both he and Goku are significantly stronger, but Goku thinks they can grow beyond that. Especially because there's apparently another family member of Frieza's out there. Like, what if he shows up here for revenge? They should be prepared, and more important, they should be able to fight him on their own. They fused basically out of desperation, but if Goku had it his way and Frieza wasn't just going around killing everybody, he would have loved to have an actual 1v1 with him, but clearly Goku was not on his level at all. Imagine he broke out his full power while Goku wasn't even fused. He'd be screwed. It's a good thing he had Kaioken and Frieza was kind of just taking his time. He needs to ensure nothing like that ever happens again. So Goku and Piccolo train a lot together, but Goku doesn't really discover anything new. The other humans join as well, especially because they learned fusion on King Kai's planet. Yamcha has somewhat lost motivation to fight, and Chaozu's also kind of getting left behind, but they do join this training, mainly because everyone wants to try out the fusion technique. Ten actually has a good idea too. Why not do a fusion battle? That should be a great way to train. Not just to make sure they have the fusion dance down perfectly, but also it's just going to be more effective, and it's going to be more fun. So they actually try this out. Piccolo and Goku fuse again, fighting against Tiencha, a fusion of Ten and Yamcha. This is basically a test run of a fusion sparring match, and it's awesome. Of course, Piccolo is the stronger one, but still, this is a really effective way to train, and it's a really fun battle. Plus, after the fight ends, both the fusees grow. They learned from that experience, and they did get stronger. Of course, they don't do this all the time, because individual training probably would work better than using a new body to fight, but their fusion battles should at least help grow their ki and their techniques, even though they're using another body. And basically the entire group messes around with fusion, trying out a bunch of different combos. Tenlin, Yamku, Krillin, Goshinhan, etc, etc. Basically everyone tries fusing with each other. So everyone gets a better grasp on fusion, and all of them can now perform the fusion dance on a whim and with perfect execution. There's also one more person that learns the fusion dance, Gohan. Goku makes sure to teach it to him as well because it could be really useful in the future. And Gohan is involved with their training, mainly because Goku and Piccolo want to make sure he can control that power he showed on Namek. Goku didn't really get to see it too much, but he knows Gohan had one of those rage boosts again and was able to fight Frieza with it. And with Goku and Piccolo both being his teachers, they want to make sure he can master that, growing stronger than ever before. So they work with him as well, and Gohan's also more involved with the group, getting closer to the other fighters like Tenshinhan, Yamcha, Chaozu, etc. So even though Goku didn't make it to Yardrat, he's still getting really great training here because he's growing, his allies are growing, they're getting better with fusion, and because of Goku being there to kickstart everyone's training, this kind of benefits them all. So Goku might be weaker than normal, but everyone else is stronger than normal. And it's not like Goku isn't growing. He just doesn't have Super Saiyan yet. And he's not that much weaker than he is normally. At some point he'd probably reach the level where he was at least in terms of his base power. He does continue trying to improve Kaioken as well because that's really the only stat boost that he has. And amidst all the fusion training, they kind of pick up different techniques from each other because when they fuse, they could use each other's techniques. Like, for example, Piccolo never actually learned Kaioken, but after fusing with Goku for a few times, he picked up on it just from fusing. And this spreads around with everyone pretty much having a grasp on Kaioken, at least to some extent, and even though not all of them might be able to perform it, they have an idea of how to use the Spirit Bomb. And while Kaioken is pretty tough for everyone else to pull off, With Piccolo, it's kind of natural to him given that he has regeneration, especially with all the times he fuses with Goku. It's pretty easy to get a handle on. Some time passes after Namek. Amidst a day of training, Goku feels a powerful energy approaching, and it's strange, it's a familiar energy, not something that feels a little evil like Vegeta's. It feels good, and everyone else feels like they recognize it except for Gohan. He's the one person who can't tell who this is. That's because the energy they're sensing is the energy of Gohan, a familiar looking man in orange lands nearby. Everyone's a bit stunned at first because they think he looks kind of like Goku and more like Gohan actually. Like an older version of Gohan. It makes no sense. And Krillin asks, does Goku have some other kid he doesn't know about? Goku says he has no idea who this is, but he does remind him of Gohan. They're right. The man introduces himself as Gohan, but they're probably not going to believe what his story is. He's from the future. Future Gohan explains who he is, how he got here, and more importantly, why he's here, also giving some medicine to Goku for the heart virus. They learn that Goku dies from the heart virus not too long from now, and this should cure that. But Gohan comes from a future where things didn't really go too well. The Red Ribbon Army returned, and androids attacked, killing a lot of their friends and allies. Gohan is one of the final survivors. And this future Gohan is younger than the one you're thinking of. He actually came back in time sooner. And there is no Trunks here, which is why he came back. So, what happened? Why is it future Gohan this time? Why did he time travel from a sooner time period? And what's going on with the androids? Gohan was kind of the last bastion of hope. Following Goku's death, androids 17 and 18 attacked, and the group tried to fend them off, but even with fusion, it wasn't enough. Especially because they didn't even really have time to perform fusion. Piccolo was able to fuse with Krillin, briefly fighting, but the two androids were able to overpower him. They actually didn't have data on fusion, so this caught them by surprise. He activated Kaioken as well, and this actually gave him the upper hand. For a brief moment, it seemed like this fusion would win the battle, but while he was winning the sprint, the androids were winning the marathon. They just needed to hold out for a little longer, because Kaioken did wear out the fusion, even though Piccolo was a part of it. It's not like he could just use it infinitely. He could just use it more efficiently. On top of that, the fusion itself would run out eventually too. And on top of both of those things, the androids have infinite energy. So Krillin was able to injure them quite a bit, and the battle was almost won, but the androids were able to pull ahead, killing everyone and leaving no one behind. Well, besides Gohan. Gohan was left unconscious from the battle, but not dead, and he woke up surrounded by the bodies of his dead friends. This was actually enough to push him into transforming, unlocking a brand new power that he knew nothing about. He felt a rage boost unlike any before, and, for the first time, Gohan became a Super Saiyan. At least, that's what he assumed it was. Vegeta had referred to Goku as some sort of Super Saiyan before, and Goku told Gohan about this, but Gohan assumed that maybe this is what Vegeta was referring to, some sort of legendary transformation that they didn't know about before. But this still wouldn't be enough to defeat the androids, so Gohan laid low for a bit, training and trying to fight them whenever he could. The year he comes from is age 775. For comparison, this is a year after the Buu Saga took place in the main story. Originally, future Gohan died in age 780, and Trunks got access to the time machine a few years later. So he got access to the time machine way earlier than normal. But how? If the androids were around, what happened that was different? Well, that's the thing. The androids aren't around anymore. The androids were actually defeated about a year ago, which gave Bulma more than enough time to work on a time machine. They no longer had to hide, and they were able to get resources much more easily. That's the other thing. The androids aren't the only threat. When going to fight the androids one day, Gohan felt a really strong power approaching, and it's weird because he felt the key, so it couldn't have been an android. It took him a bit to recognize who it was, but it clicked. It was Vegeta. He hasn't felt Vegeta's power in years. Why is he on Earth? He didn't approach Vegeta, but he felt his power rise like he was fighting someone, and then Vegeta just left. He then tried to confront Vegeta, but he just saw a spaceship going out into space. It was really weird to him, and he didn't understand why Vegeta came here, defeated the androids, and then left. But there is a reason. Future Vegeta went to Earth because he's been waiting for a while. He was expecting to encounter Kakarot sometime soon, but it never happened. He came to Earth, and he didn't feel any strong powers, and everything looked apocalyptic. And then he encountered the androids, realizing they were the ones who destroyed everything, and he learns from them that they killed Goku. So Vegeta fought them, and realized it was kind of pointless to be here because, first of all, he came to fight Goku, and second of all, he came to get the Dragon Balls because he never was able to find Namek again. At least the new one. He still did live on the old Namek. He assumed that with everyone dead here, there would be no Dragon Balls either. So, that's why he left. Thankfully, he didn't just blow up the planet in the process because that would have been kind of pointless. Maybe it was out of a false hope that one of the fighters on there would return someday. But as far as Vegeta could tell, no one was there. So that's why Gohan came here and was able to get here earlier. The androids were defeated. Earth was indirectly saved by Vegeta, and Bulma completed the time machine sooner. And, of course, Goku takes Super Saiyan for a test run, fighting Gohan while he uses that form, getting to see it for the first time. He knows for a fact that Gohan can at least access it, but wonders if he can too. Like, they've known about Gohan's rage boost for a while, and maybe this power is just attributed to that, or it could be attributed to him being a Saiyan in general. After all, he is Goku's kid, so whatever Gohan could pull off, maybe Goku can pull off too. He's not entirely sure, maybe it's a Gohan exclusive thing, but he'll find out his own way. So now they know of everything. The good news, Goku can get a new transformation. The bad news, Goku's gonna get the heart virus, the androids are gonna show up, and Vegeta's out there somewhere. Probably as an enemy, even though he inadvertently saved Earth by killing the androids. And that tells him Vegeta's really strong because if no one besides Vegeta was able to defeat the androids, and he did that single-handedly, that's a huge testament to his strength. Future Gohan returns, and he's glad to see everyone here, especially Goku, Piccolo, and his past self. But this isn't the last time he's going to be here. He'll come back in 3 years to make sure everything goes okay, and he's hoping that this will fix his timeline, although they're not really too sure. So, training begins. They need to stop the androids but also prepare for Vegeta, and also make sure Goku doesn't die of the heart virus. Goku begins working for Super Saiyan, and amidst his training, the others come to realize something. They don't really know much about the heart virus, but they've been around Goku a lot and even fused with him, so they wonder if the heart virus is transmissible. It's especially concerning because fusion, like what if the fusions had the heart virus? So they're extra careful, and when any of them exhibits any sort of sign of the heart virus, especially Goku, they'll be ready to take the medicine. Nobody else catches the heart virus, thankfully, but when Goku gets the first symptoms, he takes it. Basically, everyone else is conscious of the heart virus, so that means Goku's able to catch it earlier on, and by the time the androids are supposed to appear, he's already recovered from it. They didn't really hear much about the androids, but when they arrive in the city where the androids show up, they locate 2 of them, androids 19 and 20. They don't realize that these aren't the same androids Gohan was talking about, and they get ready to battle. Goku's really happy here too because he's not going to rely on fusion. He thinks he could fight one of the androids alone, and he displays a new power that he's gotten. Over the course of his training, Goku's unlocked Super Saiyan for himself, using this to first fight android 19, quickly figuring out that he can absorb energy as well. But with Goku's own smarts and power, he's able to defeat android 19 relatively easily, which leaves android 20 next. He's able to make an escape, but then encounters somebody else. As the group's looking for android 20, they see a huge explosion in the distance, and they feel a very similar power. At first they're hoping that future Gohan showed up, but he didn't. At least not yet. When they sense the key, they realize who it is. They quickly fly over. They see a crater with the remains of android 20 in the middle of it, but floating above is someone surrounded in a golden key. Another Super Saiyan, one that they didn't expect to see for a while. It's Vegeta. Why is he here so early? Future Gohan says he wasn't going to arrive for a few years. What Future Gohan didn't know is that Vegeta had been passing by Earth from time to time, trying to sense any powers on Earth not too far out in space. So he actually had been by Earth a few times. In the future, he missed the first battle with the androids, but every other time he came by, he just didn't sense anything. But Gohan traveling through time already changed some things, because first of all, 2 different androids are here, and now Vegeta's here earlier on. He flew by and he just so happened to sense everybody's power. He doesn't know who that old guy he just killed was, but he was trying to get in the way. So Vegeta simply eliminated him. But now he could finally settle the score. He's here for a one-on-one fight with Kakarot, and this is where we'll leave off for now. What'd you guys think about this part, and what's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me I want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.